Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here to the regular season finale, race number 26 of the debut season of the PCSRA Busch Series. Today is the day. We're about to determine the 12 drivers that will battle for this season's Busch Series chase for the championship after today's race. Chloe Carmichael's on the pole position. She will not be one of the drivers battling for the championship, 36 in points. She is like over a full race back, so even if she gets a second win, I don't think it's going to be enough for her to make the playoffs as far as that's concerned. Justin Hugo is alongside. Hugo is 37th in the points. He's also in the same boat. Even if he goes to victory lane, I don't think it's going to be enough for him to make the top 25 in points. Danny Rant in row number 2. He needs one goal, win, and he's in the playoffs. And Jimmy Baker, who fell all the way down to 34th position in points, I don't think it's going to be enough, even if he wins today, to be in the top 25 in points to have that win count for a playoff berth. As you look at the rest of the starting lineup, today is the running of the Maine Lobster New England 300, since we're in the New England region. And we're going to get these cars rolling off for 20 laps of racing. Make sure the field rolls off. Oh, hold on. All right, there we go. Now the field is rolling off behind the pace car. Let's talk about the playoff, or the point standings. Wait, is somebody... Okay, never mind. Before was having troubles trying to get going. But anyway, the points are as follows as we enter this race, the Maine Lobster New England 300. These are what the points look like entering today's race. Azar Amirmoez is the points leader by 35 points over Annika Ricci. D Marquez is 53 back in third. Malin Lee fourth. Danny Rant fifth. Jay Green, Kyle Langeland, Brad Blackmon, last week's winner at our last race. Landon Ching and Makara Amirmoez complete top 10. That was back at the Texas Motor Speedway. We're going to be joined by my Triple P friends. That would be Cody Smart, Zachary Taylor, Sean Arndt. As here we go, the regular season finale is about to begin. We are green from 8 Ball. We had a race here in the Winston Cup Series when Trucks and Busch were off, and it was a very calm race. Will that be a factor here today? We're going to see about that. Danny Rant going for the race lead. He would like to have a win to make the playoffs, regardless what happens in the finishing results. For Azar Amirmoez, as I welcome Senor Sean, who just joined me in the booth. And yes, the booth was unlocked when I came in there, so yay.
And you forgot to lock the door. So
No. I actually kept the door unlocked, so if you guys want to join in, that's fine. Jimmy Baker in the 35 comes into this race 34th in points. It is impossible for him to make the top 25 in points to have his win count for a playoff berth, but he's just trying to find victory lane. In fact, Team Renzi, that the team he drives for, has not found victory lane this season with either the 35 or the 25, as Danny Rant's now in second position. If you didn't tune into our truck race yesterday, we had the regular season finale, and the driver who was second in points ended up winning that race in a must-win situation, which was a shot clock cheese, and it came down to 2 measly points between a driver making the playoffs and a driver who just got eliminated. So look at Azar Amirmoez. The goal for her, finish ahead of Annika Ricci, and she'll take the regular season championship. That's the only thing she's going to have to worry about, is she's going to take the race lead. Justin Hugo going to follow right behind the Outback Steakhouse Chevy. course, we are turning left and right. The only time on a restrictor plate track we are turning both left and right, which seems a bit confusing, but we are driving around the number 8, which that's why it's called 8 Ball for a reason.
Yeah, but this track can go sideways here real shortly.
Oh no, Azar is blown up! Azar just blew up! Oh no, this is going to be a problem. And she's holding up the field. What the heck? She's holding up the field. Here comes Bruno Wood. Oh, this is going to be a yellow. Oh my goodness. How was that not a yellow? That's got to be a yellow. Yep, they're going to have to throw a caution. Unless she can get off the track there. That could have been worse right there, y'all. That broke up the pack. The question is that going to bring a caution out? She has stopped on the track. They got to throw a caution unless they feel like she's out of the way. And they are still green, surprisingly. She's now teleported to pit road. That was kind of scary. Kind of scary having your engine blow up right in front of the entire field, for heaven's sakes. Riley Roblier back here at the rear of the field. I'm going to mention a couple of things here. Riley Roblier needs a good run to get himself in the top 25. He came into this race 16 points back at 25th. Leela Bakai needs to have a solid run if she wants to keep her spot in the playoffs, because right now she is not safe. She's only a total of 43 points ahead of 25th in the standings. And being back here at the rear of the field, that's not going to do her any bit of good. Emily Green, who is a total of, 24 points back at 25th in the standings. Bart Simpson is, it's 21 points back at 25th in the standings. He's another driver that needs a good run. As Sally Ford, she is 27th in points, 14 points back at 25th in the standings. There's Bruno Wood. There's Annika Ricci, second in points. Nearly turned the Reese's Chevrolet of S Hsu almost into Liliana Bata, who's also another driver trying to stay in the playoff hunt. And she's 15 points ahead of 25th in the standings, Liliana Bata. Darby King is 6 points ahead of 25th in the standings. Just needs a solid run. And speaking of Bart Simpson, he just took the lead. Of course, Sean Art is ready to race at Mansfield tomorrow for the Winston Cup Series regular season finale, and he'll be going into that race also in a must-win situation over there. Yes, short track racing to end off the regular season, which I find it interesting. Especially we've never been to Mansfield before with Winston Cup. But it's a little experiment of why not. Bart Simpson, as my Chargers being stupid. See, 7. He was 21 points ahead behind 25th in the standings. Not sure what's going on with my charger, but it's okay. I'm going to reorganize this room eventually so I have the bed not, or my charger not screwing up, so. Bart Simpson leads another lap. We're nearing the halfway point of today's race as my charger won't stop farting. There we go. Does that all the time. I don't know why. S Hsu's on pit road. Something's up with the 29. That's another driver that would, if she would have won, she would have been in the playoffs. And now she's going to be all by herself, which is not going to do her any bit of good. Brad Blackmon, last week's winner, jumped all the way up to 9th in the points. Or no, 8th in the points, I'm sorry. Jimmy Baker's going to take the lead. We're at the midway point of this race. And I'm going to throw a disclaimer like I did for the Truck Series. I do not know who will be the 12 drivers that will make the playoffs. I will say that right here, right now. I will have to find out. I will have the officials do the points because that would be something I'm not good at. So I'm not going to give you a 100% true estimate of who made the playoffs and who didn't until you see the official points standings and the reformatted points. I do know if Annika Ricci does not win this race, I believe the 13, which by the way blew a camshaft, and Annie Winters is out of the race. Or April Winters, I'm sorry. Annie Winters is in the Winston Cup Series, Royals. Good job. I get a dunce head because that's what I get for being tired. April Winters was also another driver. A win for her would put her in the playoffs. And Riley Roublier, I think his playoff hopes are probably going to be done because he's in 38th position. Or 37th, I'm sorry. S Hsu, I think her playoff hopes are done unless she gets a caution. Annika Ricci in second. Lucy Myers is right now, needs a solid run to keep herself in the top 25. That's another thing is that for Diego Marquez, who is 6 points above the cut line, the only way he's going to make the playoffs is if we don't have a new winner, number one. And number two, if a repeat winner goes to victory lane, then we would have to see who would get the last spot on points.
So just needs somebody who might have more wins.
That would be correct, Sean. And remember, I talked about in yesterday's Truck Series race, Jesse Art and Blake Wagner, who didn't have good runs. The good thing they were hoping and praying for was that Alina Ricci fell outside the top 20 in points, which she did, and it came down to 2 points between Blake Wagner battling for the championship in the Truck Series and Alina Ricci being eliminated from playoff contention, as they have now lapped the 29 of S Hsu, so we can definitely say S Hsu will not make the playoffs, which is a tough break for her. So the only hope for RCR is going to be Liliana Beta, who you see right there in the payday machine. But Danny Rant wants to make the playoffs. He knows a win will get him in the playoffs, which would be bad news for drivers like Bruno Wood, Bart Simpson, Sally Ford that are trying to make the top 25 in points. Plus, Danny Rant is ahead of those drivers in points. Boy, it's going to be interesting who's going to make the playoffs and who's not. Elizabeth Gardner not having a good run, but she's in the playoffs no matter what because she had a nice little cushion between herself and 25th in the standings. So, but, the one thing Sean and I have talked about is you got to have good momentum going into the playoffs because a poor finish like what we saw with Blake Wagner and Jesse Art, they're going to have to hope and pray they don't have that going into the playoffs, or they could end up being the two drivers eliminated from the Truck Series playoffs, which you will see that next week at Chicagoland, which will be Kyle Langeland's home race. Going to be fun racing in Joliet, Illinois. All three series will be racing there, Trucks, Busch, and Winston Cup Series. As we start the playoffs, start the journey to find out who will be the inaugural Trucks, Busch, and Winston Cup champions. As we're down to 5 laps of racing to go. Annika Ricci trying to take the lead. S Hsu is not for position. She has been put a lap down through, which we still don't know what was wrong with that 29 machine to begin with, which it is a tough break for them. Here's the other thing I should also mention is that Azar Amirmoez, she has 4 wins, which I don't think that's going to be a big hurt for her. She didn't need to win this race. Same with Annika Ricci. They're just trying to get some more playoff points to help them for the reformatted playoff standings, which begins at Chicagoland. Lucy Myers, who just took the lead, she's also in that same boat. If she gets another win, that's 5 more playoff points and a better seeding for her. So it doesn't matter if she wins this race. She knows she'll be in the playoffs. She just wants some extra playoff points when we have the reformatted playoff standings. Everyone else that are right around that 25th position in the standings just needs a win.
Really, you just talked about the two sides here. Mostly, you know you're in the playoffs. You just want that extra cushion.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you're looking for. Everybody else, you need that win. You don't get that win, then you're just going to be racing the rest of the season just to see to get a win.
Yep. And that's what we saw in the truck series when it came down to 2 points. Right now, for those 26 drivers that recently got eliminated, they can now just focus on wins since they're not in the playoff contention anymore, which I know a couple of names like Shyla Askarov, which is a shame for her because she's been having rotten luck the last couple of weeks. And then you look at Jimmy Baker, who at the beginning of the regular season was top 10 in points. He's like 30 something in points, which he's been on a bit of a downward spiral these last several races. So, and that's really important as Luna Farmer is about to take the lead. Farmer is 33rd in points. I don't think even if she goes to victory lane, I don't think it's going to be enough for Luna to make the top 25. But we know this in NR 2003 history that the super speedways is where the driver who's struggling in the points caters to the underdog. And I think those that are like struggling in the points like Azar Amirmoez, Justin Hugo, Morgan Le Fay, who's up there in third, losing second to Lucy Myers, they would like to have a good run because it's been a very difficult season for those drivers. As we're at 2 to go. Going to come to the white flag next time by Justin Hugo coming up there. And like I said, Justin Hugo's just trying to win. I don't think a win would get him into the playoffs because he is so far down. He's like over a full race distance points back of the 25th position points. So he's just trying to win. So is Morgan Le Fay as the white flag is out. 1 more lap to go here at 8 Ball presented by Credit One Bank. Myers, a second win for her, will confirm her spot into the playoffs. Can Morgan Le Fay do anything? Can Luna Farmer help the Navy Chevrolet? Here comes Farmer. Here comes Le Fay. They are 4 wide for the lead. They are 4 wide. Jimmy Baker. Yeah, Jimmy Baker powers around the outside as they come on turn number 4. And Jimmy Baker, even though it's not going to matter in the playoffs, he's going to win the Maine Lobster New England 300. Unfortunately for Jimmy Baker, it will not be enough, but a win is a win for that 35 team. A driver who's been struggling in the points, and I talked about it a second ago. The driver that's struggling in the points, it caters to the underdog, and Jimmy Baker wins. But now the question is, because the driver who has more than a full race distance back at 25th in the standings, who's in? That's the main question.
Who's in and who unfortunately is not in?
Justin Hugo will not make the playoffs. I can tell you this. Third place for Annika Ricci might not be enough. So Azar Amirmoez, despite blowing up, I can't confirm, unless scoring says otherwise, and don't quote me on this until you see the points, I think Azar Amirmoez has won the regular season championship no matter what. Because she had a 35-point lead over Annika Ricci. So I think Azar will be the regular season champion, which I will have to confirm that. Luna Farmer 4th, Danny Rant 5th, Morgan Le Fay 6th, Tika Jumiaka 7th, Tula Topola 8th, Bart Simpson 9th. Is that enough to make the playoffs? I don't know. Landon Ching will get 10th. Unfortunately, Landon Ching will not make the playoffs despite being in the top 10 of the points. That sucks for him. Lucy Myers got 12th. Bruno Wood was 14th enough to get in the playoffs. I don't know. Darby King has done enough, I believe, to make the playoffs. 15th will do her in. Liliana Beta, 17th. Was that enough to get in the playoffs? Emily Green, 18th. Was that good enough? I don't know. I really, really don't know. As you look on down to the rest, I can tell you Riley Roblier and Sally Ford, their playoff hopes are done. Jay Green, didn't matter what kind of result he was going to have today. He's already in with his 3 wins in 29. Diego Marquez, I don't know. I don't think he's going to make the playoffs with a 31st place finish. Kyle Langeland, Lila Bakai finished in 36. And she came into this race, if I look at the math correctly, she was a total of 43 points. Ooh, I don't know, Sean. I don't know. I really would like to know the 12 drivers in the playoffs, but I have no clue who's going to make the playoffs. Sunia Sue, I know, is not going to make the playoffs. She finished a lap down. Elizabeth Gardner had some problems, lost the draft, finished the last car on the lead lap in 37th. And then April Winters and Azar Amirmoez was out of the race due to mechanical failures. But Azar Amirmoez, the good news for her, I believe she did enough to win the regular season championship. But the question is, who's made the playoffs? That's going to be the big question I think we're going to discuss, which you will see the points. We're going to find out ourselves after this video is done. You'll find that out in a second. And Sean, I want to thank you for joining me in the booth for today's race here at 8 Bowl.
Yep. Glad to be here.
Yep. Thank you guys for joining us for today's race. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the PCSRA crew today. We have shown you your full finish results, your point standings. You'll find out the 12 drivers who made the playoffs. We know Azar Amirmoez, I believe, has won the regular season champion. Don't quote me on that. You'll find out the 12 drivers who made the playoffs. I'm sorry to the drivers who did not make the playoffs, with the exception of Tula Topola and Taylor Valley, because they were not even going to make the playoffs anyway, because they came in late in the season. But I wish the 12 drivers battling for the championship good luck. But we're off to Mansfield with Senor Sean. We're going short track racing, Winston Cup style, to find out the 16 drivers to battle out for this season's chase for the championship. Hope you'll join us for tomorrow. That's going to be a heck of a story. And Sean knows he loves carnage, knowing him. Oh, yeah. Short track, and I can't wait to see how many drivers are going to flip each other off tomorrow. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Until then, for Sean, I'm Daniel Vole signing off. You've been watching another broadcast of PCSRA TV, where champions are made for 15 years and since 2010, and celebrating 15 years, as I said, the best in racing around the world since 2017. And in the words of Leo Einstein, let the chase for the PCSRA Busch Series begin.